Hello, hello, my love. I hope this finds you doing so well. I am excited to share with you that we're going to try something new out here on the podcast, here on Feminist Wellness. On Tuesdays, we will be doing a new segment called the Tenderoni Hotline. I'm so excited. So it's questions and answers to common questions that y'all have sent in, and I'll be pulling from anchored groups from the Somatic Studio and other programs, common questions, exciting questions, fun questions about the nervous system, somatics, health, wellness, and I'm going to be doing some coaching. So if you have a coaching question or a general question you'd like me to answer on a Tuesday, send it in to podcast@Beatriz, Beatriz, albina.com, and I will be answering them every Tuesday. We'll see how it goes. If y'all are downloading them, if you're sending in emails, it seems to be going well, we'll keep it going. If not, we won't. Easy peasy, right? So I'm excited to get this started. I've got some really good questions on deck. Please do send yours on in and let me know if you enjoy this new segment. Here we go. The first question I want to answer today is this. If emotional outsourcing is about safety, belonging, and worth, how do I start sourcing those from within myself? That's where I keep getting stuck. Okay, understandable. Let's start with the definition. So emotional outsourcing is when we chronically and habitually source our sense of those three most vital human needs, safety, belonging, and worth, from everyone and everything outside of ourselves instead of from within at a great cost to self. That's my definition. It's a survival strategy, one you didn't choose consciously, but one your nervous system built because it kept you safe in your family, in your culture, in your school, your community. It kept you safer. So how do you begin to reclaim that? Picture a woman at work. Every time her boss praises her, she feels a rush of relief. Okay, I'm safe. I'm good. I'm safe. But if there's silence or critique, she spirals. Suddenly I'm failing. I'm unworthy. That's the story. Her sense of worth and value is outsourced. Or think about the friend who texts everyone before making a decision. Should I take this job? Should I wear this dress? Should I break up with him? Should I marry him? That's sourcing belonging externally. Believing consensus and other people validating you is the only way to feel safe. The first step is awareness. You can't shift what you can't see. So start by noticing. In this moment, when I'm about to outsource, where am I placing my safety? My worth? My belonging? Is it in someone else's opinion or in my own sense of self? My own self-story? Science helps us here. Neuroplasticity tells us the nervous system can learn new patterns. Your amygdala, hippocampus, and prefrontal cortex are constantly rewiring based on lived experience. So when you practice pausing, orienting your nervous system, and reminding your body, I am safe right now, you literally strengthen the pathways that support that sense of internal safety because it becomes the path you believe. So safety begins not as a thought, but as a body state based in action, and belonging works the same way. Research shows as humans, we're wired for co-regulation, which means we first learn belonging through others. And as adults, we can cultivate intrapersonal co-regulation, being with ourselves in tenderness, talking to ourselves with warmth, which is why I talk to you, my tender raviolis, so softly, showing up for ourselves like a trusted friend. That's how belonging starts to take root inside. And worth can be the hardest because many of us were taught under patriarchy and late stage capitalism that worth comes from productivity, from performance, for being the good one, the easy one. And so reclaiming it starts small, choosing rest when your body asks for it, saying no when you mean no, letting yourself take up space with less apology and then no apology. Each time you do that, you tell your nervous system, my worth is not up for debate. It lives here in me. Let's try a practice together. If it feels safe to do so, close your beautiful eyes or simply lower your gaze and place one hand on your chest, one on your belly, or wherever feels right for you. Feel the rise and fall of your breath and say quietly, out loud or in your own heart, in this moment, I am safe enough. We don't need to push it. We don't need to say safe. Yeah? Because your body might push back on that, but I am safe enough. Get present with it. And notice what shifts as you connect inward with safe enough. Now think of a time when you felt true belonging. Maybe laughing with a friend or sitting in nature or in the company of someone who accepts you fully. And if you don't have a memory of a human, what about a pet? Let that memory settle in your body. And if you don't feel anything, that's okay. Still join me in saying, I belong to myself. I belong to myself. Finally, think of one thing you've done recently, tiny, ordinary, that reflects your worth. Maybe you fed yourself breakfast. Maybe you kept a promise to yourself. Maybe you reached out for support or drank enough water yesterday. Hold that in your body and say, my worth lives here. My worth lives here. Take one more moment to let it settle. And when you're ready, open your eyes, look around your space, take in the colors, the shapes. Let your nervous system land. My beauty, reclaiming safety, belonging, and worth from within isn't about never needing other people. Quite the opposite. It's about remembering that these are yours by birthright. No boss, no partner, no parent, no social system gets to decide them for you. They live in your body, and they're just waiting for you to come home to you. Our question is, why do I feel like I've lost myself in everyone else's needs? My beauty. This question gets to the very heart of emotional outsourcing. That sense that you've disappeared into everyone else's expectations. Like, you know what they want for dinner, how they like their coffee, what kind of birthday gift will make them light up. But if someone asks you, what do you want? What do you need? Even if it's like, what do you want for dinner? You freeze. You can't find the answer. It's like your brain goes blank. This may be a reason why. So perhaps when you were young, chances are your nervous system learned that tracking other people was safer than tracking yourself. Maybe your caregiver's mood dictated the whole household. Maybe you were rewarded when you were the good one, the helpful one, the easy one. Your belonging thus depended on making others comfortable. So your body, being brilliant and amazing as always, learned to tune outward, not inward. Over time, your own wants and needs got shoved down to the basement. A client once told me she could walk into a room and immediately she would know who was stressed, who was happy, who was on edge. But I remember as she was telling me that story, I was like, okay, Megan, and how are you? She totally drew a blank. Her nervous system had been wired to outsource belonging and worth by monitoring others, not by listening inside, like so many of us. Another client said, I don't even know what hobbies I like. I've spent my whole life doing whatever the people around me wanted. Camping because he liked it, going to sports because he liked it. What do I even like? That's emotional outsourcing in action. We are trained this way. And on that note, the patriarchy pours gasoline on this fire. Women and folks socialized as girls are trained to value ourselves by how much we serve, give, caretake. We're told that selfishness is the worst sin, that martyrdom is noble. So of course we lose ourselves. It's demanded of us. So what's the remedy? Well, it starts with reintroducing yourself to yourself. Not like with some big giant find your purpose leap that just overwhelms the system. No, we kitten step. We start with the smallest questions. Am I cold or warm right now? Am I hungry or full? Do I want tea or water? It sounds banal, but these aren't trivial. They're practice reps for remembering you exist and your preferences matter. I often have clients keep a running pleasure list, like 10 small things that bring them even the tiniest bit of joy, independent of anyone else. Watching a certain show, smelling lavender, listening to a specific song. The assignment is to notice which things actually feel good, not which things you think should feel good, or like which song your husband likes. And so that list becomes a compass. Another remedy, oh, you're not going to like this. Practice disappointing people, not in cruel ways, but in real ones. Try saying, actually, I don't want to watch that movie tonight, or nah, I don't feel like going out. It will feel maybe wrong at first. Your nervous system might register it as danger. But over time, the more you do it, the more you learn that yourself doesn't disappear when you stop tending to others. You're still here. You're still worthy of listening to. You still matter. And on that note, I'll say, my love, you haven't really lost yourself. You've been here the whole time, waiting patiently under the roles, under the masks, under the caretaking. Every small act of listening inward is a breadcrumb trail back home to you. And I promise you, it is so worth it. It took me quite a bit of work to remember who I was. And I'm just so glad to be home with me. And I hope the same for you. This question is from my program, Nervous System Foundations, Signals, and Safety. It's part of the Somatic Studio. I'm struggling to be able to recognize a slow decline from 1 to 10 with dorsal or sympathetic. It feels like I go from a 1 to a 10 immediately, like snapping my fingers fast. Any guidance for me? Okay, so yeah, this is really common. So many nervous systems wired for emotional outsourcing feel like they jump straight from calm to crisis. What's usually happening is that the body is moving along the spectrum, but the micro shifts are so subtle. And when your system's been trained to like override or ignore them for so long that it only registers once things are at an 8 or a 10 and you're about to throw a plate. So here are some ways to start noticing the in-between states. 1, track micro sensations, not just big feelings. So instead of looking for dramatic changes, heart racing, total shutdown, start watching for smaller cues. A tiny holding in your breath. Maybe your jaw is set just a little bit tighter, or your shoulders are lifting towards your ears without you meaning to move them. Maybe you feel like your focus gets narrow or gets like a little foggy. These are often 2s, 3s, and 4s on the scale, but they're so familiar, you might not register them as activation. 2, widen the timeline. Notice what happens before the sudden spike. Did you skip lunch? Did you push through exhaustion? Did you hear a comment that landed as a little jab? Often the body has been stacking stressors, and the jump to like plate throwing is just the last straw. 3, use anchors throughout the day instead of waiting to notice when you're already at 7. So try checking in at set points as you're learning this skill. Before a meal, after a meeting, when you get up to pee. Ask yourself, where am I? 1 to 10. Doing this regularly helps your brain start to see the gradations that you thought weren't there because you didn't know to look for them. 4, practice with after the fact reflection. When you realize, whoa, I just went to 10, I totally blanked out, or I totally freaked out, take a moment to track backwards. What sensations were there at 8, at 7, at 6? Even in hindsight, you're building the neural pathways to notice those shifts earlier next time. Remember, dorsal doesn't always feel big. Dorsal activation, that checked out, disconnected, can register as nothingness. Spaciness, flatness, scrolling your phone without realizing time has passed. That's mid-range activation. Naming that counts as noticing it. So my darling, it's not that you truly go from 1 to 10. It's that your body has been trained not to notice the 2 to 9. So with practice and a lot of gentleness and patience and compassion, your awareness will expand. And when you do notice those small shifts, celebrate them, because that's the work. That's the work, my beauty. And I promise, with enough time at task, you will start to notice these subtle and important shifts. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you don't know about nervous system mapping, I teach you exactly how to do it in my new book, End Emotional Outsourcing. And I can't wait to share it with you. It is one of my favorite skills. I was previously only teaching it in private workshops, in Anchored, or in the Somatic Studio. And I'm so excited I get to share it with you now because nervous system mapping has absolutely changed my life and the lives of so many of my students. Check it out. Thank you so much for listening, my love. So much fun to enjoy those questions and answers, right? So next week, we'll be doing a little more like coaching style mixed in with Q&A. It's going to be a blast. If there's something you want my answer to or want to get coached on by moi, send it in to podcast@beatricealbina.com and we'll put you on the list. Cannot wait to have your questions to answer. All right, my beauty. Thank you for joining me. let's do what we do. Gentle hand on your heart should you feel so moved. And remember, you are safe. You are held. You are loved. Take care, my darling. Mwah. I'll talk to you soon. Ciao, ciao.